Yo, Kagdila, Raphael here. Today, I want to bring you a longer piece. I want to go really in depth. I want to talk about the state of flow, how you can get into it, how you can access it sooner rather than later, and how you can apply it to all areas of your life and make sure that you're achieving a much higher level of success. Just because you're tapping into that and you're using the state of flow to your advantage, it's going to help you out a lot. So follow on through. So the state of flow is something that is almost kind of mysterious or unknown to most people. For many individuals, it's something that they experience a few times in their life, but they never really track back or find out what it is or really understand it and get a real knowledge about what it is that causes it or what puts you in that state. However, it is something that can have an amazing impact in your life. It can take you to the next level in almost any area, and if you can really apply what you learned here today and you start hitting the state of flow, you start living more in the state of flow, it can do some really amazing things for you. Now, most people really firmly believe that flow is something that comes naturally. It's not created, it's not caused by us human beings, it's just something that occurs. Like when an athlete hits the state of flow, he was born with that natural ability, and all of a sudden it just comes to him and he starts shining and doing all this crazy stuff, and it came out of nowhere, when in fact, flow is something that is created through hitting a critical mass with practice, constant ongoing training and practice, always perfecting your craft, putting in the hours. And so when you see an athlete perform on the peak level where the person hits an amazing state of flow, it has a lot to do with the training and the effort that has been put in behind it. So what I'm saying to you is basically that a state of flow is not caused by itself. It's not something that just happens to you magically. If you are in a state of flow, or if you've ever been in a state of flow, you might be able to look back and notice that something happened or you did something. You accumulated some kind of great results or training or practice. You put down the hours in the right way. You did what you were supposed to do, and what that caused eventually is what most people see. It's just the surface. You hit the state of flow and all of a sudden you're performing like crazy and you're doing all this amazing stuff. The basic thing that you can take away with you pretty much straight away is that flow is caused and created by you. It's not something that happens to you, and if you felt like it did or you think that it might have happened before, that's not the fact. It's just that you only see the surface and you haven't really dug deep and seen the background, what caused it, and really gotten into like, what is it that puts me in this amazing state? I want you to think about a moment where everything was perfect. I want you to think about a time where you were fully present, you were vibrant and overflowing with positive energy, and you were just feeling amazing about yourself. Everything was going your way, things were just happening the way they were supposed to. Your life just felt like it was aligned and everything was going the way that it was supposed to go. And the world was responding to you in a warm and welcoming way, and everything was just happening for you. If you ever experienced a time like that in your life, that's what flow is all about. That's what flow ultimately is. And so the way that you access it is not mysterious at all. You have to create it. Flow is something that you create. And look, what happens is you see people that are in a state of flow and they're performing way beyond their limits. They're crushing it way beyond what people might expect of them. And the reason is, again, the state. Because the state is what affects you the most. The state of mind that you are in is what's going to affect your results the very most. Now, oftentimes you hear numbers like 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. I won't really tell you any statistics or numbers like that based on any studies, but what I will tell you is that for sure, your mindset and the mental state that you are in has a whole lot to do with your performance. And whatever it is, relationships, fitness, maybe high performance sports, maybe business and finance, whatever it is that you're looking to be better at, if you can hit a high state and particularly flow, you're going to perform way better. So if you want to access flow, it's quite simple actually. Now, of course, simple in the sense of that it's easy to understand, but it's not easy to apply because most people will not apply this. They will hear it, they'll think, great idea, and they'll never use it. But if you want some really amazing results and you want to see your life almost shift to the next level, I want you to really implement this stuff. So here it is. Once again, I'll tell you, flow is created by you doing the right thing over and over and over again. Like I said, the practice and the training, the hours that you put in, the amount of time that you sacrifice and invest towards you perfecting your craft, whatever it is that you want to get really good at, that's what's going to pay off. That's what's going to help you hit that state. Because ultimately, the more hours you put in towards practicing or training or learning a skill or doing the exercises for improving a certain area of yourself, maybe your character or your mental strength or anything that you want to improve for that matter, if you put in the hours, if you put in the time that you're supposed to put in, what happens is that your mind registers it very clearly, very simply. It understands you're putting in the time, you're rewiring your brain and training yourself to perform at a certain level with a certain result in mind. What happens is that you simply start to realize that you're adding on more and more, you're building momentum, you're crafting your momentum, and what happens is momentum leads you into a flow. But it's not just any momentum, it's a special kind of momentum. Not the kind of momentum that's just based on victory after victory and everything going your way. Rather, that is the kind of momentum that you get when you're in flow. But coming up to it, what happens is you are creating not victory after victory, but you're creating result after result in practice, and you're pushing yourself to always get better. And so when it comes to that time to shine and the moment to really produce at the highest level, you are ready for it, you are prepared for it, and you are in that state because you have the confidence behind you, or if you having done the right thing over and over and over again and a limited amount of times. And therefore you can go in with all of you, be fully present and not worry about the circumstances or what might happen and what might not happen, whatever results that you might be worried about in the future. You can fully be there, and that is an extreme amount of power to have. Because when the pressure is on, most people crumble. And coming into a state of flow really puts you beyond that. That's why somebody who might not be expected to do much, if they create a massive amount of momentum, they learn a lot of things, they start practicing, they put in the time over and over again for an extended period amount of time, they can almost go way far and beyond what people have done before them that maybe practiced regularly but not as much all at once, and they didn't really push as hard, and they didn't create as much momentum, and they didn't hit the state of flow, and therefore they cannot perform at that same level. Ultimately, if you want to live in a happier state, if you want to be in a better state more often, and I'm sure we all do, you want to feel better about yourself, you want to have the world be warm to you and receiving to you and really just welcome you and give you everything you want and for everything to go your way, what you need to do is earn it. That's ultimately what it is. You have to earn your position and you have to earn your flow. If you earn your flow, you can stay in your flow for longer periods amount of time and more often, more frequently, and eventually what that leads up to is almost living in that state. And that is probably the best thing in the world. I couldn't describe it any better than it's perfect and things go your way and things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. You get what you're supposed to get and you do what you're supposed to do. You feel good about yourself, the world feels good about you, and everything just seems to go the right way. And I mean, that's just fantastic. So ultimately, again, it comes down to doing what you're supposed to do. And you need to take charge of yourself and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, putting in the hours, countless amounts of time, and getting yourself into that state of flow for then to build even more, expand even more, get even better, create even more momentum, and pretty much just take your life to a whole nother level. If you're interested, you can get exclusive one-to-one coaching with me. Check out the first link in the description below. Fill out the form and I'll get in touch with you as soon as possible.